lived in Spain. He was a man that was really and truly a part of the royal house of Spain. Spain in the 1500s was one of the most powerful nations on earth. Their king sent Christopher Columbus across the ocean to discover America. And he was also a soldier. And he was right high up in that court of the king. And he got wounded too. Well, his leg got wounded. He thought he had it fixed. And when he went out to start being a soldier again, it broke down. He had to come back and have it reset. He had a long time to recover. And so he asked them, he said, can you give me some romance books? I want to read about love and fun and enjoyment. And they said, we're sorry. He said, we only have 2 books in this place. One of them is a Bible, and one of them is the lives of different men and women who were saints, who were holy, who followed Christ in a special way. Well, he was desperate. And he said, I'll take them. I got to have something to do to pass my time. Well, after a month or so of reading that, the Bible, and the lives of these saints, he said to himself, I'm on a worthless trail. I'm on a path that's going to lead me nowhere. These men and women changed the world. They changed people's hearts. They made them in love with God. And as a result, so many good things began to happen, where there was only evil things going on. And he said to God, I'm going to take my sword, and I'm going to leave it at the statue of your mother, and I'm not going to use it again. But I'm going to take your word as my sword, and I'm going to form a group of men, and we'll go around the world telling people about you and your son and how great and wondrous you are. Well, when he left that recovery center, he went to school because he wanted to know more about God. And the only schools that were there at that time were religious schools. So he went, and there he found 6 other men that were excited about carrying out his ideas. And they founded what he would call the Society of Jesus, a group of men dedicated to Jesus. They wanted to spread his word. And do you know what they have done? They have gone all over the world. The first missionaries into India were one of his followers. The first ones to the Philippines, the first one to Japan. And he was off the shore of China when he died, just a mile off the coast, going there to preach about Christ. And other of those men that belong to the Society of Jesus have come to this country. The first Christians to give their life for Christ were 2 of his followers in upstate New York, Isaac Jones and John Ray Buck. They gave their lives to help convert the Indians and to bring to them the knowledge of Christ. They've been to California. They've been in Mexico. They've been in South America. They've been everywhere. Why? Because that man, Ignatius was his name. Because in a moment of sorrow, in a moment of pain, in a moment of a broken leg, he wanted something to read. And he discovered a new world, a world of saints, a world of holy men and women who would not think about their future, but they wanted to bring Christ into the future of every person. to those who had no idea that Christ was even alive, to the people in Africa, the people in India, the people in Japan. And that's still going on. Now, the largest number of men belonging to that Society of Jesus than to any other religious group. And their whole purpose is to bring Christ into the lives of one and all. Yes, I have to ask myself, who's my best friend? And I have to say now that it is the men and women who were before me, who overcame problems, who did away with sin, who did away with earthly grandeur, and said, I want to be a child of God. I want to bring Christ into the hearts and lives of everyone. I don't want him to be a stranger to anyone on earth. And you know, my friends, you and I can have those same kind of heroes. We can look around and see who's really good, who's really doing things to help others, who is doing all in their power to help the poor, to bring the knowledge of Jesus into their lives. You know, a couple of months ago, I was approached by a group from Ashland, Kentucky. They run a pregnancy center in Ashland called Twin Hearts Pregnancy, primarily dedicated to women who are pregnant and not married. And they wanted to come into Lawrence County, but they couldn't find a place where they could set up their working headquarters. And they came and said, we hear you do some things that are good for people. Can we talk to you? So I invited them over. And I said, I have a house down on Gene Wilson Boulevard, right behind our Church of St. Jude. And I said, it's about 1,700 square feet in it. And they said, oh my God, that's a perfect size. I took them down, and they said, oh, what good we can do for the poor women that are expecting a baby without help. They dedicated it, and we opened it on the July the 5th, just a little over a month ago, or a little less than a month ago now. But again, they're thanking me every time I visit, because they said, there's so many coming already to us for help. They give them clothes, they give them cribs, they give them advice, they give them medical testing, they give them medicine, whatever it is they need. And you see, my friends, I did that because of Francis, because I saw how he went and took care of the sick. And I had to do the same. And the same thing is out here preaching like this. Why don't I just stay in my church? I've got 3 of them to preach in. Keep you busy. And yet, if I'm going to be like Ignatius and the men he joined, I'm going to have to get out in the open and let the folks know that there is no better friend they'll ever have than the Lord Jesus of Nazareth. That's what we're about. That's what we're up to. And so I hope and pray that some of these reflections are going to be something important to you, something that's going to motivate you to come closer to Christ, to draw a little nearer, to hold out your hand and let him guide you on your way through life. Well, I think it's time again for the Mountain Troubadours.